I kept posting about him, and then actually shout Robbie Fox. Robbie Fox on his podcast was with Dana White, and he's like, I have questions for Dana White. I texted him. I said, ask Dana if he can put me with Hasbulla. So he asked on the podcast, and Dana said that he would do it when he comes to the United States. But then Hasbulla, his people, DM'd me off his Twitter, and they're like, hey, unless you want to wait for the United States, we're going to be in Dubai next week. So I said, I'm there. He's the king, the best, the greatest there ever was. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be pound for pound probably the best Sunday conversation I've ever done, for sure.
Over the last 2 years, his infectious laugh, vibrant spirit, and raw power.
He's just an absolute menace. I mean, he was my white whale. For a long time, my white whale was Fat Joe, because Fat Joe was like the most popular rapper of all time when I was growing up. And then he just like basically disappeared into thin air. And then I was always wondering, where is Fat Joe? Why is he not making music anymore?
By the way, Fat Joe seems like an easy get. Like I have his cell phone number. I see him all the time.
Would still do him in a heartbeat. We actually almost had him for the fall run of Sunday Conversation, but it just didn't pan out at the end for scheduling. So hopefully one day we'll have Fat Joe as well. I didn't know how big he was going to be. I kind of thought like he would be the size of
Za,
like smaller than Za, but Za-ish.
Yeah,
he's not. He's like he's 3 feet tall. So he's 1 yard tall, 1 football yard. He's 3 feet tall. So he's like small. So anyways, none of that stuff fit him. That jersey, that if you saw the photo I posted on my Instagram, that's a small.
Yeah, it's draped over him.
Yeah. Anyways, I gave him all this Barstool stuff. None of it fits him. I told him, actually, funny story. This guy came up to him, one of his fans, and brought him a Nintendo Switch with 4 video games. He was like, hey, a big fan. I bought you this brand new Nintendo, and here's some bunch of games. So then right after the guy leaves, he pulls out his phone. He goes on Instagram Live, and all his friends who speak his language are like laughing. They're like dying laughing. I'm like, what is he saying? Like he's selling that Switch. He's selling it for less than market price. He's just winning on his Instagram. So I told him, when I give him all the stuff, I know it's not going to fit you, but you can feel free to sell it. But he gifted me back this tennis shoe, which is it's a combination of me and Hasbulla, if you can see it, done by a custom artist on Air Force One, and then he signed it right here. So we're going to auction this off, and all the and this is the Hasbulla decision, approved by Hasbulla. We're going to auction this shoe off, and all of the proceeds are going to go to the Barstool Fund for a small business.
I love that. Who is an artist who created a half Caleb, half Hasbulla?
So he has an NFT collection called Crypto Hasbulla, which all the NFTs are just people who are famous but then blended into his body.
That's amazing.
It would be a one of two, because there's another sneaker that I am keeping. I have to keep
them. Damn. So you can't even wear them. So it's a straight collector's piece.
Straight collector's piece. Yeah, you would never want to wear these.
Okay. Half Hasbulla, half Caleb, Air Force One. Things that you just never thought you'd see a couple months ago.
That's a one of one. And I don't know how many autographs he's probably signed. This is going to be his first interview, and I don't know. That might be one of his first autographs.
Damn.
I mean, he's like panic-inducing famous. When people would see him, they would literally they couldn't control their emotions. They were coming up to him, touching him, like they just could not believe it. When we got over there, it turned out he doesn't even speak Russian. Hasbulla speaks a thing called Chechen. I mean, he's just an absolute menace. Like, he's a terror to society. When we were eating dinner, we couldn't talk, obviously, so he was just putting toothpicks in his hands like he was the Wolverine, like between his fingers. And he would just, when I wasn't looking, he would just stab me in the side with them.
So he just hits people all the time? Like, that's not...
He has a lot of aggression in there, dude. And also, he commands such respect because he's so small. I realize this, that whenever he walks around, he has to walk so fast to keep up with everybody that he just looks like he's just in power, because he's always like jog walking.
Yeah.
So he just has a very physical, powerful presence. I mean, I will say though, for this one, I did treat it a little bit more like 60 Minutes, because if I just dropped like a satirical Hasbulla interview, but people actually want to know answers about it.
Yeah, true.
Like people want to actually get some information. So this one probably is going to be more informational, but I did. And also, a lot of the humor of it is going to be lost in translation as well. So this one actually is going to be a straight up interview, but I still think it will be. But then he just kind of came back, and then so I kind of changed my white whale to Hasbulla. What does the future hold for Hasbulla? What's next?
хотел бы открыть свой известный бизнес, и чтобы нормальные деньги зарабатывал, и потом
People were wanting
помогать
pictures. It was like
тем людям,
people were
которые
losing their minds. People having
нуждаются в
out-of-body
помощи.
experiences seeing him. So
You've been
it was
around a
awesome.
lot of famous people for you to say he's the most famous guy you've ever been around.
Yeah, no shots at you on your birthday, Dave. But
No,
he is,
I'm not. You've been around far more famous people than I have. That's a pretty big statement.